Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, who is Trump's top dog on immigration and has been nothing short of remarkable in pushing forward Trump's agenda on immigration, held a press conference, was asked about this on Friday. Now, you know, the media is melting down about this. All right. They think that this is the King Trump maneuver, right? This is exactly what they warned us about. Project 2025. Trump was going to seize power, take away constitutional rights, and just run roughshod over the country. The only problem with this is, of course, that Trump would be doing this to advance an extremely popular policy position. A wide majority of this country believes that bad illegal immigrants who are squatting on American soil, who are causing untold amounts of death and destruction in our towns and cities, communities across America, ought to disappear. Poof, gone. Get rid of them. So Miller, says this in the press conference, right? He's got all the hostile press. Listen to what he says.
The Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article 3 courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article 3 courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS, right? So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination. So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch, the courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well, too.
Yeah, this is a very important point that's lost on people. Congress, and remember, I keep telling you this, that the president's authority is at its highest when he is enforcing the will of Congress. Congress has previously to Trump being in office made it so that courts, federal courts, all these crazy judges who are issuing these injunctions, these stays, these obstacles to Trump's agenda, immigration agenda, Congress previously determined that these courts don't have jurisdiction. They can't review these cases. They're literally non-justiciable, is what we lawyers refer to this as. Now, I guess this law could be reviewed at some point by the Supreme Court to determine whether or not it's constitutional, but it requires the highest level of scrutiny because, of course, Congress is working in conjunction with the president. It doesn't require the current Congress. It can be a Congress back in the late 18th century, like the Alien Enemies Act, right? Okay, so I'm just telling you, I think that it's not a done deal that Trump suspends habeas corpus. I think that this is an attention-grabbing move on the part of Trump to lay down the gauntlet. All right, courts, you want to keep acting like rogue, judges. You're usurping the power of not just, my branch of government. I'm speaking as Trump, right? The presidency, Article 2, but you're also taking away from the legislative branch. So Article 1, right? So you know what? You guys want to do that? Knock yourselves out. I'm just going to go do it my way. I think it's a laying down of the gauntlet. Trump likes to do this. He wants to demonstrate to his opponents in these federal courts that they are insignificant, that they have no power. And in doing so, I've said this from the beginning, the power of the judiciary, of the judicial branch of government, is going to deplete in the next few years, because they are running into the buzzsaw that is Donald Trump, and Trump's not going to give this up. Trump knows he's in the right. Trump, for the first time, has surrounded himself with people who've done their homework, i.e., Stephen Miller, and constitutional scholars. Hell, he's been fighting for the last 4 years in the world of what presidential constitutional authority is, because the lawfare that has been levied and pushed and launched at Trump, unsuccessfully, mind you, but launched at him nonetheless, has required a robust defense by Trump and his lawyers of presidential power, of presidential authority, etc. It's almost like Trump in the last 4 years, thanks to the morons in the Democratic Party and in the Biden administration, got a crash course on how the freaking government works. There's a great saying, hoist by your own petard, sort of shooting yourself in the foot, right? Or taking something that is meant to help you and having it hurt you. The Democrats launched lawfare against Trump, which they intended to hurt him with, damage him politically. Did that succeed? Well, conventionally speaking, we understand he's in the White House now, so yes, it did not succeed in no way, shape, or form. But there's another layer to it. I really do believe that the last 4 years, particularly the two where litigation, or 2.5, where litigation was very, very dicey and acute, and Trump was being hounded by Jack Smith and special counsel Merrick Garland, Joe Biden, et cetera, right? The Justice Department in the last administration, that Trump really did begin to understand, people around him understand what his powers were. And I think one of the takeaways that Trump had, and I've heard this from a number of people that know him, that the realization that Trump had is that he just did not know the full extent of his executive power when he was president in the first go around. He really thought that there were things that the courts could just shut him down on. He really thought that there were things he just could not do through his agencies. He had people in these agencies who were telling him, Mr. President, you cannot do that. I will, you can tell me to do it, but I can't do it because it's not constitutional. And the team that he had in his first term said, yeah, that's probably right. And they just had no clue. And what was really going on were there were people there, seated deep state folks, Obama, hires, that were sitting there. No, tell him you can't do it. Tell him you can't do it. And Trump just went, yeah, okay, I'm not going to do it. Well, he coming in like, what a Miley Cyrus in the ball, wrecking ball. Yes, exactly. He is coming in, and he's coming in hot, and he knows what he can do, and he knows what they can't prevent him from doing, and he's firing everybody that's standing in his way. And the courts are fighting him on that, but he's going to win. And the whole thing is happening. The Drain the Swamp promise from 2015 to 2016 is finally coming to fruition.